Trustee Levin,
Here.
trustee Mirabella,
Here.
trustee McCarthy,
Here.
trustee Weiss,
Here.
trustee Whitmore,
Here.
Mayor Bruno.
Here. Tonight's invocation, I'll provide that. Lord God, on this 40th day of Christmas, we give you thanks and praise for reminding us that you are the light of the world. Guide us with your light so that we make the right decisions for the people of Winthrop Harbor. May this time of snow and cold weather be a time for all to draw closer to you. Protect all those who must venture out into the cold. During this pandemic, protect our health, watch over the sick, and comfort them with your healing touch. We lift up to you the many men and women now serving to protect us. Watch over them and keep them safe. Strengthen the families who have members serving now. And Lord, we pray for peace. May we have authentic peace through truth and justice. Banish violence from our midst, wipe away our tears, and protect us from all threats to our freedom. Finally, Almighty God, we humbly ask you to bless the residents of Winthrop Harbor and bless America. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, we move on to approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the January 19th, 2021 virtual regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Trustee Weiss seconds.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? A roll call, please.
Hargit,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Mirabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore,
Aye.
Motion carried. We move on to mayor's report. I need this motion to set aside the roles of the president and board of trustees to waive the first and second readings of the ordinance ratifying and extending mayoral declaration of emergency related to coronavirus.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hargit,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Mirabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. A couple other things. Just wanted to let everyone know last week, the committee the committee for the fire chief position met by Zoom last week and discussed the process. Just let you know, the first item was to post the fire chief position, and it has been posted. We're just waiting for a response from anyone that's interested. So I also wanted to mention regarding the snow plowing of the village streets in the last two snows, which was about a week apart. I had 13 emails and 6 text messages and numerous postings on Facebook. What incredible job our Public Works has done. It's amazing. I saw one on there. There was a gentleman that burnt up his snowblower and was out shoveling, and he had taken a break. He was resting his head on the arm of the shovel, and one of our Public Works came through and actually plowed out the end of his driveway where a big pile of snow was. He was very grateful for that, so he could get out and go buy a new snowblower. So I just wanted to let everyone know that whenever you can help somebody that maybe isn't in the best of shape to go out and do their own driveway, please give them a hand. I'd also like to, welcome our fire chief, our interim fire chief, Alicia McCoy, with us tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have. I want to move on to village administrator's report. Greg Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I just have a few things. The sexual harassment training
We'll complete next week. We have one session on this Thursday, 2 sessions next Thursday, and that'll be done. We're getting ready to go into collective bargaining with the fire department, or I'm sorry, the police department's union. That'll be coming up. Myself and Superintendent Nairgartner will be meeting in the next week to lay out the final plans for the construction of the Public Works building as we submit the grant documentation required by DCEO. Budget documents are being completed to be distributed to the department heads with a set budget amount that they can work with and come back for further review. As I go through my list here, next board meeting on the 16th, I will be presenting to the board a end of third quarter going into fourth quarter finance report to give us a status of where our finances are going into fiscal year 21-22. Tim, great job on the snow plowing. To echo what the mayor said, the communication I got from residents also said what a phenomenal job our guys did. Tim, to Tim's credit, Tim's really streamlined this. He's done an amazing job in making sure no matter what our snowfall is, it ends up being routine. And he's done an exceptional job with that. And he's still down a man. And he's been able to make sure what needed to be accomplished is accomplished. On a positive note, 2 businesses are looking to expand in Winthrop Harbor. Myself and Pat DePercio met with those businesses. Linda's will be expanding into the adjoining space at the Marina Plaza. And the Sweet Stop will be expanding into the empty storefront next door. They will be using that as their bakery storefront and then using the current space as a kitchen. So we met, looked at their plans. We're in the process of issuing the appropriate paperwork and inspections for those. So we're very excited in these difficult times that 2 businesses are finding a way to expand and capitalize on space. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor, until later in the meeting on some other issues.
Okay, thank you, Greg, and thank you for all that you do too. Amazing, all that you have on your desk. So we move on to clerk's correspondence. Julie?
Have anything? Thank
Have
you.
nothing? All right, we move on to old business. There is none, so we move on to new business, committee reports, community development, trustee Hargit.
I make a motion to approve an ordinance annexing the property commonly known as 41660 North Park Avenue into the village of Winthrop Harbor.
Second,
Second, any discussion on that?
That include waiving the second reading?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh,
very good. Thank you.
oh yeah, for
Need my
sure.
cheat sheet. But yeah, this is, we had talked about this annexation request several meetings ago now. So this is getting to the point of voting to actually bring it in.
All right, we have a motion second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Hargit,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Marabella.
I said aye.
Okay,
okay, McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
all right, motion carried. Thank you, trustee Hargit. We move on to finance, trustee Weiss.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 2020-15 in the amount of $104,832.36.
So second.
Second by Dana, by trustee McCarthy. All right, any discussion on the warrant? Roll call, please.
Hargit,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, trustee Weiss. We move on to fire department, trustee Levin.
Make a motion for open discussion of the staff memorandum on fire staffing and service delivery.
All right,
Open up, Greg provided in our agenda packets
the discussion we have within the committee. And if anybody has any questions or concerns.
Yeah, so walk through, or Greg or Trustee Levin. So there's the ask for the staffing for 1 year, and then there's also stuff in there about step pay and other things. Can you just break it down into kind of its 4 parts, Greg?
Sure. The first part of the recommendations call for it calls for the contract to, I'm sorry, for us to approve the Metro Paramedic Services contract, which will fulfill a 24/7 paramedic service at the fire department for the remaining of the fiscal year. The estimated fiscal impact on that is $17,000. The second part of this is
Real quick on that part, if we're bringing on contract, are those new bodies or is that converting existing staff into these more full-time contracted roles?
It'll
When we
be
say-
3.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trustee.
Well, I was saying it's going to be 3 of our 3 of the staff we have now.
3 of our staff have, as far as we know now, have decided to go to work for the vendor, the contractor. We have, after discussion with Attorney Long, as well as our insurance company, they're required to complete documentation of secondary employment. So we make sure that there's clear lines for insurance purposes. These will be, so in essence, these will be 3 of our people going into a contractual service, 24/7 coverage for paramedics.
This is what they wanted to be happy, if I could just say it for a minute, but I believe everybody's happy with what is going on within the department. Alicia could speak more to that, but this is what we wanted. We're not taking jobs away from people, buddy, that have been here. We're trying to get full coverage with people that we have.
Right. Just to add, this isn't a permanent fix. This is a Band-Aid to help us get through till we can find proper staffing levels to decide what direction we need to go in.
This is a dollar amount that is going to exceed what we budgeted for the fiscal year by at least $17,000 for this fiscal year. As I noted in the memorandum, it will exceed what was appropriated in this current fiscal year by about $76,000 when you have an offset to the payroll line and that money being allocated from the payroll line to the other professional services line. So in fiscal year 21-22, should the board decide to move forward with the approving a budget that would have that amount, it would be an increase of $76,000 to the overall fire department budget for that year. That is not including any proposal that would come forward for both step pay and stipend increase that members of the committee felt was necessary for current personnel retention. So that will be another dollar amount that will be put forward to the board as part of the 21-22 fiscal budget process.
And let's not forget the other dollar amount that's going to be added to that, unless you can convince this person that's on the screen with us right now to take over her predecessor's pay, because it's going to be a hard fight to get somebody to come in for that pay. So let's not forget that amount. That'll be on top of that for that budget year.
Well, that amount's already been that amount's already been factored, Trustee.
And you factored in more than what you doubled his amount or tripled his amount or quadrupled it?
Absolutely did not.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Because we need to be realists here. And the reality of it is,
This posting for this position was for a part-time fire chief, not a full-time.
okay, I get it, but that's okay.
Greg, the 17,000, we have a way of finding that revenue?
As you know, Mayor, and I've had conversation with Trustee Weiss and a couple other trustees who asked the same question.
Yeah.
When I present the finances in 2 weeks to the board, I think they're going to be surprised at, we shut down from, and I shared this with a trustee this evening that I was talking to. We went to open, to shut down. We lost gaming revenue. We lost
Right.
income tax revenue. And we're still looking at the numbers, especially for cash flow analysis, which Pat's doing an exceptional job with. We're gonna have a deficit. There's no doubt about it, even including the $306,000 that we worked hard to get on CARES funding. The only hope we have for offsetting some of that is potential revenues that would come from the current stimulus bill from Washington, which provides for state and local government. But then on the back end, what I shared with Trustee Levin and Trustee Weiss last week was we've got threats to turn around and reduce the local government distribution fund by 40 to 50%. So when we sit there and look at those potential loss, which members of the legislature are fighting against, and hopefully they'll be successful, it's every time you take a step forward, you end up taking 2 steps back. So, yeah, so that's.
Uh-oh. Greg, are
He
you
had
there?
to deal with that cat, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to kill the cat. Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh,
Greg, I have
Got
a
my
couple
cat
questions,
all
Mayor.
upset now.
Go ahead, Dana.
So this might have been in there already, so I apologize, but so we have the local people who are now employed as these contract ones. If they move on to something else, the company is contracted to fulfill that, right? So they've got to fill that somehow if those people move on, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And is there also the opportunity too that if we have other staff that come on in another capacity but then would like to take on that role, do they get kind of first opportunity to fulfill employment through the contractor?
Yes,
Okay.
If
And
they're
I'm-
qualified, right, Alicia? If
Right.
they're qualified, yes.
right. In order to be hired by Metro, they have to be certified in Illinois as a firefighter and certified in Illinois as a paramedic.
But my question is, so like if there's an opening there, do they kind of get first refusal if we have
Yes.
people that, okay.
Yes, you're correct.
And I will say this is the first contract I've ever done throughout my entire career where the contractor is allowed to take employees from the employer. Usually there's stipulations in the contract where you can't take. It's called poaching, where you can't take it. Now, in our case, there's a distinct advantage for firefighters and paramedics to know the community, know where they're responding to. So there's an upside on it, but I want to let you know that this is the first contract where I've seen something like that. But I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I think that there's benefits of that as far as service delivery to our community.
I can add that these people are part-time, and so that's how they can get them, is because they're part-time going into a full-time position.
Greg, I was going to say, this is something that I was used to in Service Master, where we would take over the staff, even though they still belong to the hospital that they're working for, but we would take it over. And if we broke, or let's say the contract was finally decided to close out, then they would revert back to the hospital. But we would have full control over it, so we could do what needed to be done to fill the obligations of the contract. Secondly, what I wanted to bring up, what we will be doing too is getting an outside source to look at the fire department and make recommendations of what path we need to take for future fire department, whatever we need to do, because this is still evolving. Like we said, this is just a Band-Aid approach to see where we're going to go with this. And hopefully with the outside person that's going to be coming in that we're going to interview, they'll give us some good recommendations to see what path we're going to have to take.
Yeah, we're the gist of this request is to, first of all, again, go back and take care of the contract for the end up to the end of the fiscal year, and then go into fiscal year 21-22, looking at step pay, stipend increase, which will be part of the budget process, the renewal of the contract with Metro Paramedic Services to take us through 21-22, while concurrently engaging a consultant to review and look at our options for service delivery and staffing going forward. And those options I presented, just some of those options I presented in the memorandum, including maintaining the model, maintain a private sector contractual EMS service, potential department dissolution, intergovernmental agreements. So there, I mean, that list is on there for the board to look at.
Will this be a paid consultant?
Yes,
And if so, do we know what the pay will be?
we do not. We wouldn't do it until we put it out to formal RFQ. And then the board would make a decision if that amount was reasonable and the scope of services were reasonable. And we haven't even gotten there yet because we
Yeah,
haven't.
so if we
It'll be a
can
process.
approve the direction forward tonight, is that a RFQ we need to put out before getting into the next fiscal year so we can budget for that?
I think we need to turn around and put it into my recommendation, Trustee Hargit, is that we would put it into the budget and as part of the budget discussions as an estimated amount, put it into the budget. And at that point, let the board decide if they want to move forward with it or not.
It's not a real kitty, it's a kitty on Zoom.
Yeah, but right now you're just saying we're covering what we are covering, and then budget time, we're gonna decide what we want to do.
That's correct.
Right.
And it's gonna be very tight though, come budget time though.
Yeah, my thought for putting this forward was, you know, we don't want to turn around, in my opinion, and I think it's the committee's opinion as well. We don't want to turn around and talk about doing Metro services, paramedic services as a fix, and then just have it sit out there as thinking it's the end all, because it actually isn't. And that we, rather than waiting, we need to take that next step, whatever that step may be, whatever the board decides is prudent on behalf of the citizens. Otherwise, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, we'll be having a discussion, a like discussion, if not more severe because of staffing. So I think we just need, for the sake of the village, to decide what direction we're going to go. And what it also allows us to do during the budget process is to address competing priorities and policy initiatives on the part of the board. You're going to have this amount of money that's requested from fire. You're going to have this requested from public works. You're going to have this requested from police. How much money do we have? Because we know our dollar amount is finite, especially not being a home rule community, not being able to go out to referenda for anything until spring of 22. There's limitations on what we can do on dollar amounts, and the village board, the staff can't do it. The village board needs to decide where those policy priorities are.
And summing that up, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's going to be tough. And all your faces in the screen right now, it's going to have to get tough, because it's not going to be one. You're going to have to decide. It's going to be a tough decision. What do you decide? What do you decide? What department do you decide? And I don't even have the answer to that, but what department do you decide in your heart that's beneficial to, because with what he's saying with finances, it's coming. And it's, so everybody's got to get their big boy pants and big girl pants on. And it's going to be a big decision on what we do and where do we, like, just with the event that happened with snow. So do you cut, we're already down a man. Do you cut that? So in your hearts, you're going to have to dig deep. This is serious stuff right now. Serious stuff coming up. There's an election coming up. This is serious stuff for the people of this village, that we're deciding what's going to happen in this village.
And we're at the proverbial fork in the road, as I described in my memorandum. We need to turn around and decide what money what money are we willing to give local government through our taxpayers, and how we're going to spend that. And I will tell you, after 20 some plus years in experience in this, including academia, consulting, and being a chief administrative officer in multiple levels of government, this is a difficult time for this village without having the taxing authority that they need to meet what the residents want. The residents continually talk about how high their taxes are, when 70% of those taxes are going to going to education and beyond that to other government entities. And it's not to fault any of those entities for what their tax dollars are, because they're able to tax what they're able to tax. But for us having 11% of a tax bill, which is minimal in the big scope of things, and still be able to give a full list of services from parks to fire to police to administration to water, sewer, and public works. And our staff is frustrated because there are so many things we want to do that we know we can do. Tim in public works and police and fire that we can't because we're constrained by fiscal limitations. But those are the constraints that are on us. Now the board has to make the decision in the upcoming fiscal year where those priorities are.
I think too, it's going to be, if the state does get their way with the 40 to 50% reduction of revenue stream that we usually, would get more than that, I mean, that really puts us behind the 8 ball big time.
And I'll continue to provide the IML updates as those go.
Yeah.
I think the board has seen the last 2 updates I sent out, including unfunded mandates and other things along those lines, TIF, how TIF money can be used and things of that nature. But it's certainly a ball we have to keep our eye on.
I think it's a very good discussion, but it's almost get to a point where we have to rob Peter to pay Paul. I mean, we have to find cuts in one department to give to another department. But I'm hoping, the state doesn't cut. Good Lord, just to cover their budgets, they're going to cut our money. That's crazy. It's just, we need it more than they do. Hate to say that, but we do. But I appreciate the discussion. I mean, we'll have to see how it all unfolds as we move forward. So thank you, Trustee Levin. You got one more item, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve a contractual multi-year agreement between the Village of Winthrop Harbor and Metro Paramedic Services, Inc. for an annual amount of $232,610.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Second, Dana? Okay, any discussion on that? Just, we do this every year, correct, John?
No. This is
what we just talked about.
paramedic
Right,
contract.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask this. I typically do not get involved with day-to-day contracts from other departments, but because this is a first step with our village in private contractual services for personnel, I'm going to ask Alicia McCoy and myself to meet with the vendor. I just need to get a comfort level with the company. I've heard nothing but positive things about Metro Paramedic Services. So I have no reason to doubt their capabilities. I just want to make sure that I've got a comfort level with who we're dealing with across the table.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Mirabella,
I don't know why I keep kicking off. I guess because I leave it sit there.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Trustee Levin. Move on to Public Works, Trustee Mirabella.
So I'd like to make a motion for the culvert repair bid award for Holdridge Avenue over Dead Dog Creek.
Second.
Discussion? This is that, part of this is the grant, correct?
Yes.
100,000 grant?
It's the $100,000 grant. This is what Trustee Mirabella and Tim Niergarten brought before the board at the end of the fiscal year 2020. We decided that the dollar amount was too high, went out for rebid. And as a result of going out for rebid, we ended up saving $20,000 off of what was proposed last year, less the consulting fee for Baxter Woodman, which was to be expected. So it certainly worked to our advantage to go out for a second bid as was recommended.
We'll still have to cover an additional cost over the grant.
Yeah, we've got to cover the additional $43,169.50. The $100,000 will be reimbursed as we move the job along. And we're not sure where that 43 may hit. It may hit this fiscal year or next fiscal year. But if we think it's going to hit this fiscal year, we will come back and ask Attorney Long to write us up an adjustment to our appropriation so we can allocate the funds for that.
Scared me there. I thought you were going to ask me to write a check.
You could do that too, Bob.
No, no volunteers.
They'll be after our budget talks.
I was, but I didn't want to be that bold, Bob.
Happy to
Right.
help.
Very good. Any other discussion on that item? All right, roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Mirabella,
I,
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Very good. Public comment. Julie, do we have anybody that submitted any questions?
Nobody did.
Okay, thank you. We move on to unfinished business. I'll start with Trustee Whitmore.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alicia McCoy, for really coming in and helping us out. I definitely want to thank Public Works for doing such an amazing job. I had a lot of people reach out to me and just tell me what a great job and how great the roads were. It was funny because I was driving all through Gurnee, Waukegan, and we definitely had the best roads. And that's it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Thank you, Trustee Whitmore. Trustee Weiss.
Yes, I want to thank the Public Works. I too got text messages and people called me and said our Public Works did a phenomenal job. I know they come by the house here. I could hear the snowplows rumbling all night long. And I said, wow, look at the roads are clear, you know. Yeah, they do a phenomenal job. And I really have to give praise to the guys. And, you know, we have a small crew. When you see, you know, how many we have and what they do, it's absolutely phenomenal in how they clear the roads. And again, I want to thank our committee for the fire department. I know we met several times on that, and it's going to be a hard task to go through this. A CPA friend of mine says, you know, when you look at what we have at the end of the money, there's too much month.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it with that.
Thank you, Trustee Weiss. Trustee Levin.
Oh, yeah, just to echo Trustee Whitmore and Trustee Weiss, Tim and his staff did an excellent job. I know my neighborhood, I mean, while we were doing our driveways, you know, they really were happy with the way the plowing was done. So, you know, good job to the guys. Also, I want to thanks to Chief Street and Chief McCoy and Assistant Chief Stone for their hard work and dedication during this, you know, staffing issue, putting everything together. They did an outstanding job. And thanks to Greg for taking all the notes and his insight and experience, and as well as Trustee Weiss. So other than that, I have nothing else.
All right, you look awfully cold in there and your camera's starting to fog up.
No, not yet.
You look cold though. Thank you, Trustee Levin. Trustee Mirabella.
all right, I won't take too much time up, but yes, our guys did a good job. I think they did a good job the first time out. I think they did a really good job as they were 12 hours in on this one, but I think we got one complaint out of everything, all the neighborhoods. So I think that was good. As it was said, the other streets and I traveled to different communities. The streets weren't plowed as well. So kudos to that. Want to thank Alicia McCoy for taking over the fire department. It's going to be a tough transition. It's going to be a tough job. I won't harp on any more of that. It is what it is. It's going to unfold in front of us. But like I said, I believe we have hard times coming, and it's not just because of COVID and because it's just the way the world's unfolding as it is. So hard times are coming. I'm not doom and gloom. I know we can rise above this as a community. We just got to get in our minds how we're gonna solve it. So it's gonna be tough. It's tough times ahead. So, and I don't think when I talk, I don't think any department's more worthy than the other. Obviously, I'm gonna root for all of them. I always have. I've not singled out one department ever in my career here. I know the department I'm over, but I won't ever do that. I believe they're all important. It's just we got to make decisions, tough decisions on how we move forward and how we react to that. And I think the people in the village need to be a part of this. We need to make them a part of this as we make our decisions, because that's how true democracy works, is we take what the people say and we do what they want and not just what we want for our own personal gains. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I want to thank everybody at and don't leave out the police department. They were out doing their job when the snow fell too. So that's all part of the game, and everybody did their job and our community was safe. So I just want to give kudos to everybody and all you board members and staff members. It's trying times right now. People take COVID lightly, and I tend to take COVID lightly because it didn't affect me much. COVID affects people in different ways, and it affects our children in different ways, and it affects different people mentally. So we got to keep that in mind. It's tough times right now. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Trustee Marabella. Very well said. Trustee McCarthy.
Yeah, I second everything that was mentioned already. I don't even like going to take my dog outside this time of year. So I'm extremely appreciative of all our village employees who have to work outside. The public works, everything they've done, but police and fire as well. And just for the quick action the other night, in a scary situation that luckily ended up okay, but I'm just glad we have just amazing village employees that were ready to do whatever was necessary to help in that situation. So thank you to all the departments and to just all our village employees. So continue, please, to stay warm, stay safe, and take care of yourselves. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Trustee Hargett.
Yeah, I'll echo the same, a lot of the same things, but congratulations to Interim Chief McCoy, stepping into that role. Although, Trustee Marabella is talking about how challenging it's going to be, so hopefully he's not making you rethink or anything. But glad to have you in that role and keeping things moving. I heard the same positive comments about Public Works and how great our roads were. So, Greg, please share all of these kudos with them. Then the other thing I'll say, the governor announced today that we're expected for our region to move out of mitigation and into phase 4 tomorrow, which will open up a few more things, and certainly is there's a lot of optimism around that. And so, especially want to thank our staff, staying on top of it. There's been a lot of adapting that's been needed as we've moved through different levels of mitigation and from this phase to that phase, and opening Village Hall, closing Village Hall, having to communicate all of these different things out to the businesses so they know what they're supposed to be doing. And so really appreciate the flexibility, the adaptability of all of our staff throughout this. COVID is still very much a part of our lives, but there's definitely a growing sense of optimism that with some of this continued diligence on staying distance, washing hands, wearing masks, as well as the vaccine getting out there now and into people, that hopefully we'll see some level of normalcy by summer and can see some of our programs come back and our businesses thriving again and a lot more activity.
Thank you, Trustee Hargett, and very well said as well. Everything you said, it's been a crazy 8-10 months here, so it's got to get back to normal sooner, very soon, I hope. So let's see. I believe, Greg, you wanted a couple minutes.
Just real quick. First of all, Alicia, welcome to the senior staff team. Glad to have you here. You've always been there, but now you're up on the front stage. And when we go through a week of budgeting, you can attack Chief Street any way you want. Feel free to beat him over the head, whatever you need to. Chief Brumlick, welcome back. Glad to have you back. It was good to see you today. You're a great colleague, and I'm happy to have you back in the trenches.
He looks 20 years younger.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's support and the well wishes. Thank you.
the age reduction, I wouldn't get carried away, Mayor. It's just, it's not good.
He
for us.
does. It looks great. It really does. I was surprised.
I actually was out for cosmetic surgery, so I'll be transparent on that.
Thank God. Aside from Trustee McCarthy's interpretation of CAT, which I always appreciate, I just want to say two things, because I don't get to do it enough other than kudos that normally pass. I don't know where I'd be without Bob Long's counsel. I've dealt with village attorneys throughout my career and municipal attorneys, and I can't say enough about Bob being a resource or a sounding board, or from time to time, as any manager will, need to have the reins pulled back on him, and Bob does a great job of that, and I'm appreciative of it. That being said, also, I don't think we truly appreciate Julie. And, or I shouldn't say we don't appreciate her, but we don't express it enough. What's happened in that office with the reduction of staff, with Lisa going, with functions being divided up between 3 people, trying to bring things together, taking care of, we've had downtime with support staff. Julie steps up without hesitation, without question, and is probably one of the most ideal employees I've ever had the privilege of working with. And so I just want to make sure that's out there. And I want to make sure the board knows how valuable of an asset we have with Julie. So, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Yes, we do. Very valuable. Julie, you are very valuable. I love the
Thank you.
smile. I love the smile. So, all right. That's all I have as well. So I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All right. Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
aye.
Marabella, McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
and Whitmore.